Hello, hello. Hmm? What is going on? Screen? Something is wrong with my broadcasting software. Let me see. Screen? Um, my audio is running, but the video is not coming. So if I do this properties, display capture, start capture, fine. Okay, that is great. Camera, properties, preset. Okay. Uh, why is camera not coming? Why is camera not coming? Logitech Braille, Office Cam, Logitech Braille. Okay. Yeah, now camera is there. I have to restart these things. I had to restart my camera and video for this stream to work. Now the stream is working fine. Let me check. If I go here, fine. Okay, so let me copy this, or let me create a new day sheet. My uploads are not getting uploaded. What's the wrong? What's wrong? Let me quit this. Quit. Okay, quit. Okay, so what am I doing? Today, today I will create the show job page. Add um what am I? Add the candidate flow to show job page, and finally add the panelist flow to show job page. These three things, if I am able to do, I will be a success. Let me see how much I can do. First, let's look at show job page. What am I interested in building here? I want to build a let me go to setcn. I'm interested in building a card for the show job. So let me see if I have a good card here. This is not something I'm interested in. Even this is something I'm not interested in. Bad crumb. Display a card with header, content, and footer. let's see. Okay, I'll build a card. Card seems fine for me. So what am I building here? Okay, let me open a new page and create a new drawing. Let me rename this. Show job page. So what am I building here? Let's say I'll have a box like this, which will be job details. Below this, so this is Control B. Below this, there will be a larger box called as uh, what will we call this? Candidate panelist. Candidate candidate panelist. Initially, I'm thinking I'll have three different boxes on the same page, but later on I can have so I'll have candidates. There will be a box for candidates, and let me see if I can. First of all, let me make these boxes as. Let me arrange these boxes. So, duplicate layer. Uh, Text align. I will arrange them center. Fine. So I'll maybe move out a bit and see Control V. And here I'll have panelists. And then what? And I can align them. And these are the three boxes. Each of these two boxes will have a button here to add candidate, and copy this, a button here to add panelist. So these are cards with buttons. Now there will be bunch of candidates written here and a bunch of panelists written here. Right now I'm thinking like this, but later on I can have tabbed view. So I can have tabs for candidate and panelist. I'll think about it later, but this is the general view. In the job details part, I'll write down the details of the job, like the job name, job ID, etc. etc. So this looks good. Let me go to development. So I need a card, and so import this from card. First of all, let me see if I have card installed. So if I go to components, I have card. So here is the card. So card is there. Now I need to go to job ID page, and I have to first get the job from backend. So for that I'll call up I'll make a API call. Let me see how API. So how do you make an API call? You have to use something called as. Okay, let me go to. Uh, so how do you make an API call? I'm using something called as React query. And to make an API call, you have to have use query client, use query, have this one. This one is something I'm not interested in. Let me see. I have written somewhere. Use query. I have used query client. No, this is not something I'm interested in. Quick start, query keys, query functions, queries, use query info of S2do. Is yeah, this one. So use query, query function, and this one is something I'm interested in. This code. So let me zoom out on this. So when you have, for most query, it is usually sufficient to check for is pending status. There is, then is illustrated, then finally assume the data is available and render the successful. So I can copy this. I can copy it from here and I can paste it here. I can paste it here. In the fetch query, I have to fetch query. I have the job ID. First of all, I have to get the job ID. So let me do Control Z, and this is how I get the job ID. And then below this, I paste this. I have the job ID. Then what do I do in the function query? First of all, let me import use query. No, use query import from React. No, time stack React query. Yes, that's the right one. And then what do? Call this job, and in function, what do? You don't do anything, just call a function. This is, I need an Axios call, return Axios dot get, no, not this, import Axios dot get, and I have to give the URL. So URL is slash job slash dollar job ID, and not job, it should be API slash job ID. This is the call. Let me see if this is the right way to do it, and I don't want to display it, so I'll remove this, return this, and I don't need this to do also. No, this function is not needed, and this function is not this is not needed. Job, my job, and what do? Data. This data, why is it crying? Uh, so I have to do JSON dot stringify data. Fine. If I do this, everything looks good. I use query Axios get. Should I have Axios get inside? Let me check with job page. Axios get. No, I don't need this. So I also don't need this. So one thing I also don't need is this return statement. I just have to write Axios get. So this is all I have to write. If I go to my create page now and I refresh, I guess, What is the problem? Attempt to call user query is on client. Okay, I have to use client. I have to click here and write use client. This is something you have to write whenever you are using whenever you're using the use query function in React query. You have to write use client. If you write this and you refresh here, why is it not rendering? Why is it not rendering? Div job ID. Everything looks good. Let me check the network. Whenever you face a error, go to network tab. Okay, first let me check console. It shows your error preloaded. Oh no, no, that's fine. Invalid call hook. Let me go to network and let me refresh. No, let me refresh this. Loading. Jobs come. I click on the job. Click on details. What is the problem? Job. No. Okay, there's some uncaught promise in this. So there's some promise that I'm using which is not. So let's go to page and see what's going on. So use query get job. Uh, what is the problem? Let me format this document. Why is this not showing up? Data is supposed to be. Is the data supposed to be something like a data? Data is not supposed to be like that. Data is fine. Uh, yeah. So where is the function called? Where is the function called? There. This one. Job this. Why is this crying? Why is this crying? Let's look at response. Internal server error. Response is this. I got a data point. I'm calling it a job. No, this is the job one. Response is this. Response is this. Review header. This job itself is causing some problem. This job page, get API queries. This query is not getting called. It should be job. No, this is jobs. This is fine. This is job. Job ID. There is something wrong with this params.job ID. Uh, so so no, but that was working before. So if I just return here, if I return say div and job ID, what will happen? Save this. This is working fine. There are two errors. Uh, Async await is not yet supported in client component, only server component. This error is often called use client to a module that originally written for the server. Okay, so that is the error. That is the error. You cannot use an async function here. You cannot use an async function. This cannot be a promise. And you cannot use this. And fine. Save it. If I go to details, what is the error? A param property was accessed directly with param. Param is now a promise, should be entered in use with React use before accessing properties of underline. In this version of Next.js, directly accessing param is still unsupported for the migration, but in future versions, it will require to wrap params with React use. So how do you do this? How do you do this React use? How do you do this? Params is a promise. So params is a promise. I cannot do this. I have to do something else. React use params. Bold React use param dot job ID. What will happen now? Will this go away? Yeah, this is fine. So this is good. Now I can remove this. So the error that I was facing was because I was using a async function with a use client. It is loading and there is an error from the job part. Failed to with the status was this. So let me look at the question. Get this job 0 in 500. Uh, Job ID is not returning. Why is it failing? Now the backend call is failing. Backend call is failing. Backend, if I go to job ID, route, await params, table, jobs table, let me return job then instead of job 0. Internal server error. This is throwing an internal server error. What is the error? Page.use query. This is sending an internal server error. Okay, so this job is causing some problem. What can I do now? Let me select from this and see if where is causing the problem. Let me select from this. So this is where is not causing the problem. Uh, Something else is causing the problem. So let me comment this out and just return job ID. API job ID. Something is wrong with the job ID itself. Uh, why is this causing problem? Job ID. So I'm trying to get to this route. So I have to look for React route handlers. No, Next.js route handlers. Route handlers. Export. So route handler catch receiving catch data header params. Use URL query params. Okay. So a request object passed to router handler instance which has some additional convenience method include more easily handling query parameters. Search params query. No, I'm not interested in this. Uh, Params request body chorus header redirects route resolution page conflict get posts dot get so fetch vercel job dot data. No, this is not. Or API dot route. Let me search for params. On this there is no params. Yeah, here is the param. uh, Slug and await slug. Route handler can use dynamic segmentation to create request handlers from dynamic data. Fine. So if I go here, I return job ID. Uh, Job ID. So if I go to page and I just do this, what will happen? Request failed. API internal server error. API is throwing an internal server error, and I don't know what that error is. Axios.get. Let me try to run for some different API. API.job. Is this API working? This is working. This is working. So API slash uh, dollar job ID. If I call this API, I'm not getting back the data. So let me go to route and see what's the problem. Uh, Job ID is coming here. Let me return hello world. Hello world. Okay, this is still throwing an error. Where is the problem? Where is the problem? Job ID route. Job ID route. Let me open. Let me open. What is it called? What is it called? What is it called? Insomnia. And let me make a new request. Copy link address. Insomnia. Paste this. Okay, paste here. Send. Internal server error. There is an internal server error for this job position. Have I saved something? Let me rename this. Job ID. And if I just do job, what happens? Job is working fine, but job ID is not working fine. Why is that so? Job is working fine, but if I give, say, a ID in front of this is giving an error. So let me, I think there's something wrong with the structure of the path. So route handler, uh, on this page convention, let's click on convention. Route handlers are nested anywhere inside the app, directly similar to page and layout, but there cannot be a J route at the same route segment level as page. Now following HTTP methods are allowed. Behavior, get cache, good to know. Supported HTTP method. You can consider our lower level routing primitive, uh, user, uh, page, route, API. Okay, there cannot be a route file in the same route as page.json, page.js. Okay, they do not participate in layout or client navigation. How do you create a route inside posts and response set query params? I want to look at params. Slug dot route. And this is the slug.route. Uh, Route handlers can use dynamic segments to create request handlers with dynamic data. Yeah, this is what I want. Uh, Items A, promise params A app items A items B. Okay, this is what I have. Route slug. So let me rename this. Let me just call it ID. And yes, and let me call this as well as ID. ID. If I go to Insomnia again, what happens? Send this. A client side exception has occurred. Uh, you cannot use different slug name for dynamic path. Job ID. Uh, Save this. Save this. Where is this happening? Send this. You cannot use. Is this causing a problem? Type. Job ID. And this is using job ID. Okay. So rename this to job ID. So this is not crying anymore. Uh, Params check property. Why is this crying? Tag type is incompatible. Param type param promise. Okay, this is causing because of this job ID. Job ID. Job ID. Say this. Say this is not assignable to type request. Next request. Param types are in properties of types of property. Param type are incompatible. Param is not assignable to type request. Next request. So what do I have to do? Let me write here. Request. What is it called? Request. Now if I save, this is fine. Close this and come here and format this. Save it here. Go here and send this. Okay, so that request was causing the problem. You need to write this. So I can uncomment this and I can do where eq job stable dot id job id and then job 0. Save this, send this. But if I go to create new app, okay, now go to job page, data. Okay, fine. So now job is coming properly. Why is it fetching so many times? Okay, so close this. Now what do I have to do? I have the job. I have to show the job page, job card. But before that, do I want to show something else? Promise params. No, I think I can show the job. For this, what do I have to do? I have to get the card. Once this is done, I'll create a. So import this. Footer I will not need. And I'm sorry, I sneeze very loudly. Now I'm creating a job. Mm, I don't need the footer. Card title will be job.title. Job.title. What all does the job contain? Mm, I don't need a description. I write. What do I have to write? Uh, so if I go to DB schema and look at job title, years of experience, evaluation time, and link to JD. So if I go to job, uh, experience colon job dot year of experience, type is equal to job dot evaluation type. What else? Experience evaluation type. What else? And JD link. So link, link, JD, href job dot JD link. Fine. Let me go back to this. How does it look? Only thing is the card is. If I click on this, what happens? Yeah, fine. So this is good. I would want this to be. Uh, I would want this to be a little bit smaller. Uh, I want a header on top that can have the job client, job candidate, panelist. Um, okay, this is good. I have JD. One thing I want to do is I want to have card, so I can do it in the layout itself, the outer layout. So I'm not happy with this. Uh, Toaster, children, body, class name, mono, Latin, the data. So I can have a div here, div class, class name, max width 3xl. Let me do this. What happens if I refresh this? Or maybe 4xl, and margin x auto. No, margin auto. Yeah, fine. So Java developer, Java full stack comes here. Now what do I have to do? At this point, I can commit the changes. At this point, I have filled up the details and I can commit the changes. So I can come here and I can move back to 0. Yeah, and move this down and add all the changes. What is the commit message here? Add job details column. One thing I have to check is let me run. Uh, Let me run. I have to stop drizzle. Let me run the build function. Build. It should not give an error. If build gives an error, then there's a problem. Need to be fixed. What is the problem? Card description is defined but never used. Page. I don't want to commit anything before before running everything in the build, because if build doesn't work, then I'm in trouble. So I run everything in build, and once everything works in the build, I start committing it. So what do I have to write in commit? Create a job, show job details. No, show job details on job on, or maybe create job details card on show job page. Create a backend API for job API /job/job ID. Yeah, create the front card. One thing I want to check is uh, one thing I need to check is if I run dev and I go to jobs, what happens here? Yeah, this is good. And if I go to panelist, this is fine. And if I go to candidate, this is also fine. This is fine. So what next I have to do? I have to create the front end card. Job/job ID. Comment. Sync changes. I'm working on a separate branch for this change, so that is what I'm doing. Now let me go back to my daily note. So this part is done. The job details is done. Now I have to work on candidates and panelist. So create the show job page. Add candidate flow to show job page. What all do I require for this to happen? what all do I require for this to happen? Let me go here. Uh, Create job, DB call, list job, show job, create job, candidate, Genovo, data drive, data, profile, panel availability, zoom link. So I need to create a data model for this. Create the job candidate data model or table, job candidate table. This will link the candidate to the job. What else do I need to do? Hmm, what else do I need to do? Uh, Create job candidate table, create the data table for front end, mm, add the flow to select candidates, add the flow to select candidates. Okay, so if I do all these three things, job candidate will be done. Create job candidate table, uh, create data table for front end, add flow to select. So what do I want to do here? Let me show it to you on the Excalibur. So what will happen is there will be a add candidate button and there will be candidates here. So there will be a table of candidates here, a bunch of Control C, Control V, Control C, Control V. Mm, and there will be rows of candidates and some data, some details will be here, and you can add a candidate and a pop a model will open up. So let me see if I have a model in ShadCN. So if I go to ShadCN and search for uh, menu bar, where is model? There's no model. Pop Popover? What is popover? Uh, yes. Rich content triggered by a display rich content in a portal triggered by a button. I think popover is what I'm interested in. Popover. Yeah. Search for candidate by email address, and so they will search for candidate by email address and then they will add the candidate. I'll be back in a moment. No, this is okay. I'll share a blank screen for a moment. Let me stop this stream now. So I'll stop this stream now. I'll again come back in few minutes. If you, I'll start a new stream in few minutes.